What inspired you to write and publish books?
Um, I when I was a kid, I won an essay contest when I was 11. It was $100, and I like the attention. I like the feeling of I like the feeling of succeeding at something, and it was in writing that I could do it. So I sort of had a dream since then. I always wanted to be a writer. So when I retired, I had the time to kind of look into it and develop the craft. And here I am.
Cool. So the book that we are featuring, remind me the title of it?
Yeah, The Cold Hearth.
Yes. That's the second or third book of a series, correct?
Yes, third book of a series I call the Atheling Chronicles. Atheling is an old Anglo-Saxon term meaning throne-worthy. So an atheling was somebody who was in line for the throne, or, what we'd call a prince or whatever like that. But yeah. So The Cold Hearth is the third one, and the protagonist is a man known as Harold Harefoot, like the rabbit, right? Not hairy feet like hobbits, but
Okay.
and not much is known about him in history. So I give him a character, and my research, I researched quite a bit, and there's very little information about him, but the texts that were written shortly after his death were written by one of his enemies. So I give him the benefit of the doubt and make him a more noble person than history has remembered him as.
So you said not much is known about him. By any chance, have you ever considered researching to see if he has any known descendants alive today?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I haven't. No. Yeah, that's a very good question. I like that. I like that. I like thinking about that possibility. Maybe it's me,
Maybe. Maybe that's what encouraged you to write it. Did you, I guess, because you said you don't know much about him, so you're not really sure if what you wrote about is true. If any of them should know that they are a descendant of this person and they read your book, how would you think they would feel about you rewriting their ancestors' history?
Oh, that's very good. I think they'd be pleased.
Okay.
So rather than being remembered as a villain or an incompetent or something, I make him noble and caring and loyal, and a strong leader. And yeah, well, no, any descendants would be pleased.
That's good. Is this the end of it, or is there more series books?
No, I'll have to finish the series. Probably my next work. I'll probably get to work on the next installment. It could be the last one. We'll see. I kind of write by the seat of my pants, so we'll see where it goes. I mean, I know historically where it goes. I mean, when I say I don't know much about the man personally, I know what happened to him, and I know what happened to. I know who inherits the throne, and etc. So I know what's happening in the times, and I know what happens to him. I just
don't know the behind the scenes life outside of his.
Yeah.
Sure. Have you? Because it sounds very interesting. This was published by a book company, right? A publishing company, or you did?
Publishing company, yes.
Have they ever sought? Well, I can't do it now, but sought a what do you call it? A film studio to maybe turn it into a film?
No, but I don't. That's a very good point. I should talk to them about that. I just had an editorial review I received today, and one of the things the it was a 5-star review, and the reviewer said that she saw it as being the next Netflix sensation. So one can hope and dream, eh?
Yes.
Hmm.
Or well, I know I can't recall the website, but Amazon Prime has a specific website where you can submit possible shows.
Really?
Yes, I've submitted a few. They were all rejected.
Yeah, that's healthy. Sure.
But I have to, if I can look for it, I'll send it your way.
Thank you.
They've had it for a while now, and I've submitted. I don't remember how many I've submitted. One of them got a feedback, because you can ask whether or not you want feedback or you just want to submit it. But the rest was just thank you, but no thank you.
Mhm.
But it's a thought. I mean, I know a lot of people think television, but it seems like the old way of viewing entertainment has changed as it has in the past. And it seems like more of I know they were talking about one of the Emmys where most of the winners were Netflix and Amazon. Most of them were television. So it's definitely a thought, but it sounds, how do I say, I like seeing, even if it's fiction or based on true story, but not completely true, historical films about people, because we don't, how do I say, we don't really understand our ancestors as far as their lifestyle of living, all the luxuries they didn't have that we have.
Mhm.
And I believe when we read books that they've written, we forget they didn't have our knowledge. And so lots of times we'll read what they're doing with our knowledge. And I believe watching a film kind of makes us see their different lifestyles, so we can kind of understand them better as to why they made some of the decisions that they made that we may think is weird or crazy, or did some of the things they did. But it sounds very interesting.
I recall reading a short story years ago that was it was written in Roman times by a Roman,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of shocked that it was such a good short story, and it was very modern. Like it was as good a short story as 21st century short stories. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it showed me that people are the same. You know, people certainly they don't perhaps have the knowledge, scientific knowledge or mechanical knowledge or whatever that we have today, but people are people, and human emotions and things are, are the same.
It hasn't
You know what I'm
changed.
saying? Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of Spring Awakening, Broadway show.
No.
It's a musical based on a play that I think was originally written like in the 1800s. And the playwright dealt with a lot of themes that I guess you would say, well, no one can still, like, he deals with suicide, he deals with incest, and he deals with abortion. And you're thinking, people have a hard time talking about that today.
Mm-hmm.
How did this person from the 1800s get the courage to write this play? And a theater company did it at a theater I worked at. And let's just say there was a mother who wasn't aware of the content, and she, unfortunately, I wish she was sitting in the back of the theater instead of the very first row.
Right.
But when it got to a certain scene, she got up and she brought 2 of her teenage children with her. So she got up and left. And I understand, but it showed that nothing changed. Like, I think people think things changed or things are new, as they always say, there's nothing new under the sun, but people still think things are just happening, or this is just, I'm like, even now with what's going on with America, this stuff is nothing new. It's been happening since forever, even before America was even America. And in the BC times, the stuff was going on all the time. And I don't think we realize we haven't learned our lesson because we keep doing the same things that our ancestors did.
I know.
But it's all basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
But, and when I'm assuming, how did you find out about this individual in the first place? Originally.
Yes, I was doing a write-off with a friend of mine where we were both writing, and he had done it before, and he brought some books, and I chose a book, and in the book it was it's a history book, and I noticed that just a fact about King Canute, who I'd heard of, King of England and Denmark, a Viking king, had gone to Rome in 1027. I thought that was interesting, so I started writing about his journey there, and then I wondered if he had a son. He had 3 sons, so I put one of the sons in the book, who became my protagonist. So that's really how it went from there.
Is it too much to say you might venture into the other 2 sons?
They're both pretty unsavory characters.
Oh, okay, so they're not.
They appear in the books, but they're they're antagonists.
Okay, so then, all right.
Yeah, but that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll keep the series going.
That's right.
So many people have the mindset that because they don't have a degree or they don't have. For me, my case, I did not do well in English class, so I didn't think I could be a writer, or I should really. It was more so I didn't think I should be a writer because I wasn't good at English. But I knew I had a lot of stories to tell. I had a lot of messages to give out. So I really can't. I don't know what gave me the courage, to be honest, just to do it. I think it just kept in my mind, and I knew I had to do it. But what advice would you give someone who has a really good story to tell, but they are been discouraged, even by a family member, not to do it? What would you tell them if they came to you saying, "Hey, I got this great story, but I really don't know that I should do this"? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would tell them to definitely sit down and write your story, and then entrust it to a good friend. Like, to go to somebody who supports you. I mean, everybody has their support system, right? We all need other people, and read it to them. You can read it out loud to the mirror to begin with, because reading out loud is a great way to find where your mistakes are and stuff. But read it to a friend, get some feedback on it, and you can always tweak it. You can always look at what you've read and say, okay, that's unnecessary. I've said this too many times. I'm repeating myself, whatever, and tweak it, and then write another story and another story. Like, the more you write, the more you do anything, the better you get at it. You get at it, and write it for yourself. Write it for the experience. You don't even need a reason. Just write. Just sit down and write. I've got a little sign. That just do it. That
Right.
just do it. Or another one, just show up. Just sit down and do it. So I think that's what I'd say. There's other things I could say about improving your writing and different things, but just start.
I know one of the things I told someone, she said she had a lot to say, but she didn't know in which order to say it. And so I always tell people, just vomit it all out and then clean it up later.
Yeah.
And that is definitely something. I mean, even if everyone has some type of experience, hopefully they learn from, that I truly believe they can help someone with. Yeah. And you don't need to be a degree-having expert to write a story, whether it's fictional or non-fictional.
No.
So, thank you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for years I was into journal writing, which helped me a lot through difficult periods and different challenges and stuff. And that's something I would recommend to people too. Keeping a journal, writing things that happen to you, write down interesting stuff you see, you hear conversations, write them down. You read an article, cut it out, stick it in. I mean, it can be anything in a journal. In fact, I found even when I was really going through intense times with anger and things like that, where I couldn't even write, I would just scribble. Maybe I would scribble intensely, like 5 pages, before I calmed down enough that I could start to write about how I was feeling, you know?
Right.
You know, like, well, I'm really angry. Okay, what's underneath the anger? Well, I'm hurt, and, you know, things like this. And you start to write it. The more you explain it to yourself and get it out into words, the better you feel, the more you get that equilibrium back. So journaling is really, really a good thing for a human, for anybody. And it's also really good for developing your writing.
Yes. I found, I had someone sent me a video on Facebook, and it reminded me of a dream I had. And so I was like, I got to go find that dream. And I didn't realize how many journals I had. And they went back as far as 2000 of a bunch of just writings that I had in there. And some of the stuff I actually started working on because I had ideas that I had completely forgot I wrote about, like a book I was going to write. And I just wrote the idea down and then just put the journal away.
Yeah.
And so I definitely, and I don't even remember why the first time I remember, I do remember when I was a child, I was at home watching a movie on PBS, and I just said, I need to write. And we had, I don't know, 5-minute, 10-minute walk away from our home, like a little corner store. And I went in there and bought a composition book, and I came home, and I've been journaling ever since. And I am in full agreement with that everyone should have a journal. I've always said writing was my therapy because I was bullied a lot in school. So I would come home and just write down my anger in poem form. Sometimes I would write a song. Sometimes I would just, write what happened to me. And it really helped my writing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something.
So we're on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
So last question.
Yeah.
I think I gave you more than 5, but
well, that's good.
I like this question just to see who people are influenced by. But if you had the chance to sit down with anyone, dead or alive, who's an author, or was?
Oh, yeah.
Who that person be?
There was a writer, English writer, Rosemary Sutcliffe. I don't think that many people read her anymore, but she wrote she was the first one that I read she wrote historical novels. Okay. A lot of them young adult level, and some adult ones, but this was about Roman Britain, and I was just so intrigued by learning about the Romans in Britain at that time, and actually they made a movie out of that. I can't remember what it was called. The book was called Eagle of the Ninth, and I think they called the movie The Centurion. Michael Fassbender was in it. But anyways, Rosemary Sutcliffe. I'd love to sit down with her. Lovely English lady. She's long gone now, but
yeah.
Have tea with her, talk. It'd be wonderful.
Amazing. What's the last name again?
Sutcliffe.
Sutcliffe. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this brief message.